Good morning, evening, afternoon, I'm tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we're playing Echoes, the Lucid9 Fangame. Previously, we finally ran into Yahiko. Say hi, Yahiko. Hi. Apparently he's not doing so well. He looks like he's 50 billion years old or something, and there's a tiny robot machines getting inhaled by people. Maybe. Maybe not. They're hoping it doesn't. And, yeah, it's kind of where we left off, figuring out what they want us to do. Alright, let's continue. The rest is automated, so whatever's in there must be valuable. Or dangerous. Wait a second, I'm gonna adjust my mic. Or dangerous. There we go. It's certainly possible. Isamu's surrounded by terrorists and criminals who want to watch us burn. Tech like this could be a target for them, but my money's on the agents being there to safeguard company secrets. Even if the project does have state funding, DCIS has its own directorate directorate serving under the Limniscape board. There's no way in hell our executives would let the government poke around in their schematics when they're not contractually obligated to. Even if they were, they'd probably sue the government over privacy concerns. Privacy concerns. That's fairly ironic. Fortunately for Limniscape, though, they're effectively immune to being called out on hypocrisy. If their intelligence contract and tech monopoly can't prevent their more illegal activities from being reported to the nearest politician, they've got enough lawyers to keep the courts bunged up for the next 1,000 years. During that time, they'll either use DCIS to investigate themselves and prove their innocence, or quietly ensure that the problem is taken care of somewhere in a poorly lit alleyway. It's not like the SSD is much better, though. A quarter of my job is basically just sanctioned homicide, but at least I can make it look like an accident. Most of the time, at least. Speaking of privacy concerns, you're awfully talkative about this project. One would imagine DCIS would take issue to that. A reasonable assumption. But if that assumption's reasonable, why do you keep spilling the tea like an overtaxed farmer? The same reason you're asking so many questions. Yahiko clasps his hands together, leaning forward in his seat. Then he looks me squarely in the eye. You're concerned. You want to understand what's happening here. So do I. And I found that speaking freely is the best way to come to an understanding. Even if it stays inside the confines of permissible information. Especially if it stays inside the confines of permissible information. Before I can ask him to elaborate, he leans back in his chair and changes the subject once again. Anyway, you two should know by now that I'm no tech guy. I didn't design anything here. I don't even know how to maintain it. All I know how to do is smile for the camera and shake hands with the bigwigs. I can't comment on what's good engineering and what isn't. Wait a second, weren't you a tech guy in the first game? Are you playing stupid? I guess you did that in the first game too. Because everyone was like, is he dumb or is he smart? Even if I could, I make a living putting lipstick on the truth. Who in their right mind would take anything I said for at face value? Still, there's something off about that thing. The way they're building it makes it even more unsettling, even if it is just me being paranoid. It's just me, right? No, it's weird. Please tell me it's just me. No, it's weird. Sorry, it's weird. It is a weird thing. It looks like they're going to kill most of the world, is what that looks like. It doesn't seem great. This outbreak has everyone on edge. I wouldn't count on it. It's a tower, not a seal of apocalypse. I feel like it is. I feel like it's a bit dangerous. This outbreak has everyone on edge, though. It's true. People be outbreaking. Not like in the cool public dance way. This outbreak has everyone on edge, and that on top of the fact that we weren't exactly living in the best of times before, and you got a certified recipe for widespread unease. It's dangerous, sure, and the stress might get to you sometimes, but being extra vigilant is the kind of thing that saves lives. Vigilance may turn to paranoia when you run out of evidence, but it sounds like some very weird things are going on around you. In that kind of situation, it's reasonable for anyone to get a little paranoid. My unsolicited advice is to address the big threats first, the ones that have loads of evidence backing them up. Take the triage approach. Do what you can with the most immediate ones, then work your way down. You might feel a little less worried. These are scary times, but we can change that by doing the thing that needs to be done. Things like making sure everyone takes their serum when it's handed out to them, or cheering them up when they lose hope and don't see a way out of this epidemic. As for the tower, I'm 99% sure that it's just you. Keep an eye on it if you'd like, but I bet the most insidious thing you'll see is someone who forgot to wear their safety goggles. I don't believe that. Then I'll try that, thanks. No problem. Were there some documents you wanted to show me? Me, mostly? Because Yama doesn't care. Also, do you like me more for that? Or do you like me less for that? Does it really matter? But I want to know characters. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolly, scrolly, scrolly down. She hates me. What? What? When did you get to 15? It said Limneyskate. Are you Limneyskate, Irie? You are not. Hi, Elizabeth. But he's not in here? Why isn't he in here? He should be in here, right? Does he not have a thing? He doesn't have a thing? Why doesn't he have a thing? Does it not matter if he likes me? Is that what that is? I thought it did. Okay. Alright then. Of course. Ahiko nods in affirmation, passing Yama and I a pair of matching digital clipboards. Sorry for getting sidetracked. It's easier these days. At any rate, I don't doubt that your CEO already briefed you on why you're here. Not really. But in case she didn't, Chairman Saito recently reached out to my department. I'm not sure why, but when I spoke to him, he was adamant on getting the two of you appear on the national news network, and as any your status? And as any your status as definitely still alive was classified up until recently, we had to wait a while before DCIS was able to help us fulfill his request. Given the sensitivity of what happened at the academy, data on anything and anyone, even tangentially related to it, was blocked out by the Office of Communications. If you weren't there, all you used to know was that some unnamed students went missing and a former faculty member was arrested for holding 4 of them hostage. For the past 3 years, the innocent, the school, and the people involved in it have all been under intense investigation by DCIS. And if you know DCIS, you know that anything under investigation is going to be censored. People were even censored offline. They couldn't fully enforce it, but the same restrictions applied to newspapers, flyers, and magazines. There was a point where the families of some of my friends who went missing tried to put up a memorial stone on a plot land they owned near the seized school grounds. I assume the authorities stopped them? Yahiko nods. Yakahiko. They sent the police to destroy it, and everyone involved was arrested for causing public disturbance. I like the other route better. I'm sorry to hear that. Didn't it say anything about the victims? It was blank. Must have been quite the slap to the face then. I suppose it was, but I doubt anything like that's going to happen again. Famous last words. As you can see from these documents, things have changed a lot since then. Now that DCIS has confirmed that its reports on the Academy investigation are complete and accurate, there is no reason for them to keep said reports or anything they mention classified for any longer. And just a few days ago, our Director of Security publicly apologized for the egregious censorship and issued an order to speed up the declassification process. I'm so good at words. The best. Oh, of course not. It's like, I don't know how the people in house said anything. These aren't even like medical terminology at this point. This is just regular words. Yeah, here I am. Of course, not everyone at DCIS was thrilled about it. Harry. And any decision that major would need to approve of that major would need to be approved by the CEO and mayor first. But as long as the Minister of Defense can make decisions while he's sorry, I'm rambling again. While he's in bedridden, I know he's dying. Let me know when you're finished reading through the reports I gave you. We've got a lot of ground to cover today, but everything you need to know is written there. Once that's out of the way, we can move on to the fun stuff. I don't believe that. I don't think any of this is fun. No. Don't want to go on the news. I don't like the news network. I decided to ignore Yahiko's sudden change in subject and tone, looking down and focusing on my attention on the clipboard in my hands instead. Despite my best efforts, however, I can help but feel a little concerned about everything he said. It's not news to me that Limniscape and the meritocracy have always existed as two halves of the same hyper-consolidated power structure. In fact, it's a celebrated thing here in Isamu. There's never been any outrage, publicly at least, about Masaru Inori serving as both mayor of Isamu and CEO of the Limniscape Corporation simultaneously. Without the two institutions being so inexorably linked, there is very good chance that the city may have never recovered from the 2028 recession. Being able to adapt required strong leadership, and strong leadership required unobstructable power. But for as long as that power existed, it's seemingly been concentrated in the hands of one man. Even if what Ihiko stopped himself from saying was public knowledge, he seemed to imply that the very same man was somehow unavailable. At the same time, sweeping changes are seemingly being made. Formally classified information is being revealed wholesale, but DCIS is treating an allegedly safe communications tower in the central of the city like a full-on black site. Cool. None of what I've heard seems to bode well, but until it's brought to my attention through official channels, it's probably safer for me to ignore it all and just focus on my current assignment. Is this supposed to be Hiragana? Some of it looks like it is, and some of it looks like it's not. This looks like it is. But then this one does not. Yeah, whatever. Not an expert. That assignment being whatever this is. There's a Mr. Blueface. My apologies, Operative, but this report appears to contain malicious visual code. Is that the red part? Until I can develop an adaptive countermeasure, I must insist that you do not read it. That's fine by me, but what do you mean by malicious visual code? The report in front of you appears to have been written by someone aware of numerous logical processing faults in your neural node assembly. If successfully exploited, they could cause feedback Casper the Friendly Ghost cascade. Don't mind me. Cascade, which could overload and force the shutdown of several control engrams in your limbic system. As a result, you would become more vulnerable to the effects of propaganda and disinformation. I become susceptible to propaganda? Are they going to try to brainwash me? Or is she saying that I will be, like, used as propaganda? Like, rumors would be spread about me? I have developed a countermeasure, Operative. Well, that was quick. What did you have in mind? As soon as the content of this report reaches your visual cortex, I intend to reroute the feedback cascade through a number of secondary limbic engrams. I don't know if I'm saying that. I have given you memory access to SSD's records on all relevant events. You will be able to identify inconsistencies and false statements, but you may experience significant psychological distress once the cascade is rerouted. Mr. Ikari is unaware that I intend to do this, but we must be quick. Whenever you're ready, I will enable you to decipher this report contents. Oh, whoa! All of the choices! I don't know what to choose! Acknowledged, Operative. Do not discuss this incident. Sounds like a fight is happening. A sensation like this is actually pretty cool that this is happening. Oh no, it stopped. A sensation like no other. Purgens? Through my skin, overloading my mind with 100,000 images of violence and cruelty. I see a tapestry of jagged femurs caving through flesh broken into like disposable chopsticks. I see bones that chafe the skin until nerves are frayed and blood simply condenses at the surface. I see individuals who seek death but can never find it. I see a place forsaken by a billion gods, where the mind dies, but the body remains. And I see the price of man's continued existence. Fury would suggest something capable of overtaking common sense. Dread would suggest a sense of impending hardship, or that I was hoping to escape something worse. This is something else. This is a not so distant memory of fire drawing up my spine, crawling up my spine and into my throat until it's too painful to speak. This is a sensation of a warrior who wrests a blade from the hands of a merciless enemy, knowing without a doubt that it must and will descend upon flesh through embattled hands. Oh, did something happen? Okay. Gotta history up. Yeah, okay. This is what flows through those forced by dire circumstances to take up arms. I feel like this route is a lot longer than the other one. Jiro Ryota. Words alone were insufficient to describe the hatred I carry for that name. The hatred anyone should carry for that name. As for the thing that once claimed it as his own, there's no expression of rage that would even begin to suffice. Nor is there any act of violence odious enough to avenge those who died by his hands. I've seldom wished death on another in my life. Only around 100 or 200 times. And only on the kinds of people who would better serve humanity, feeding them magpies from inside dumpsters, or more depending on the number of pieces I felt like cutting them into. For me to go beyond that is simply unacceptable. But in this case, if the families of those young men and women wanted to punish the monster who ripped their children apart and left them to bleed out in unmarked graves, let's just say, I wouldn't interfere with their pursuit of justice. Am I supposed to read this? I suppose I should. But the episode is almost over. Oh no! Alright, so I'll end it here and then continue to read this in the next episode. This part, I know this one is more complete than the other one, it seems. Or maybe the story just seems a little bit longer. But yeah, we will find out, if you haven't read it already, what all of this says in the next episode.